Marvel Rivals is currently treating Overwatch the same way Rule 34 is treating their characters. Completely f***ing them. And I, for one, love their energy. I recently made a video about how in love I am with the movesets and character designs of Marvel's heroes, so it's got me thinking who I'd love to see added next. I must admit, there are a lot of characters missing that I expected to be added way before Cloak and Dagger or Jeff. And I'm not just thinking who would be cool to see, I'm also thinking how they'd change the game and what role they'd suit. Without further ado, let me start with the one I'd personally like to see the most. Daredevil. Not only does this just make sense, considering the new season just dropped, but I think he'd also be such a cool and unique character. Plus, his signature red look would just fit right in, and I think he has insane cosmetic potential, which is important because the source never dies. I'd put him in the duelist role, but he'd be more of a DPS/support hybrid, and I would want to see him as a recon type, using his superior senses to counter invisible characters or backline flankers. I'm torn with how this would work. It could be a cooldown, kinda like Hanzo's arrow from Overwatch, where he just throws his club and listens to the vibrations it makes, or it could just be his passive. Once an enemy gets in range, he can see them through walls, or maybe it could tag them and then slowly wear off over time. In terms of movement, he definitely has to be mobile, zipping across the map, not quite as effectively as Spider-Man, but I want him to have escape options for sure. For his regular attacks, just standard melee with a bit of range, kind of similar to Venom, nothing fancy, but I'd like him to do slightly more damage. Lastly, for his ultimate, I'm liking the idea of an upgraded version of Widowmaker's ult. Obviously you reveal all the enemy positions, but maybe their ult charges as well. Just a little percentage above their heads. I don't know, I'd like feedback here because Daredevil is a tricky one, but he's an expert at deducing information using his incredible senses. I think it'd be really cool if he could sense a hero gearing up to use their best moves. Anyway, that's enough about the Devil, but let's keep the hellish theme going with Ghost Rider. A Vanguard with honestly probably more cosmetic potential than anybody else in the game. Ghost Rider is one of my favorite superheroes, period. And riding around on his bike would be pure ecstasy. In terms of the bike, again, I'm kinda torn. Either leave it as a passive, that if he doesn't take damage he mounts his motor and leaves flame trails wherever he goes, so he can set up prior to a team fight, or make it a cooldown that can just ram into people like a Reinhardt charge. His primary attack is obviously the chains. I want more range here, almost like Mr. Fantastic, but maybe they have a damage over time burning effect, or maybe they slow people. I'd also be open to giving him his shotgun, but maybe as a cooldown rather than his primary, that also has burning effect or knockback. I think probably his coolest power is his Penance Stare, and having it do more damage to a character based on how many kills or assists they have is an idea which gives me goosebumps. It'd be an interesting character to switch to if a particular enemy is carrying, but maybe make it difficult to hit, otherwise people will start to feel punished for doing well, which is kinda the point, but you know, we don't want to piss off too many people here, that's Jeff's job. This would probably be his ultimate, but I'd be open to making it a less powerful cooldown ability and swapping it out for a bike related ultimate or maybe his blue flame form. Either way, for general feel, I think he should be a slower character, save for when he's on his cycle. He should be an intimidating presence with a taller hitbox, but not as wide. My main goal with Ghost Rider would be to make him an anti-dive hero who shuts down mobility. You can't run from your sins. Moving on, somebody I was very surprised to see wasn't an instant addition is Thanos. I kinda get why, considering it's hard not to imagine him being disgustingly broken, but without the stones, he's not that strong. And it's not like everybody else hasn't been nerfed one way or another. There's no question he's going straight into Vanguard. There's almost an infinite number of ways to go about his abilities, considering how versatile the stones are. I think the simplest way to do it is just have one ability per stone. The Space Stone could let him teleport or summon a shield. I say we leave the Time Stone alone since Strange already has that. The Reality Stone could reset the team's cooldowns or let him walk through terrain. The Power Stone is just for his regular attack. The Mind Stone could stun people or prevent him from being stunned. The Soul Stone can be plugged in for his ult, which is the notorious Snap, which I imagine would work kinda like Scarlet Witch's ult, or it could go the opposite way and res people like Adam Warlock. It's hard to pin down exactly how Thanos could work, but he has to be in the game eventually. I mean, he's fucking Thanos. Speaking of Thanos, I am also very surprised we didn't get his arch nemesis in the game, Deadpool. I feel bad that so far I haven't suggested any strategists, but come on man, he's fucking Deadpool, he's a fan favourite. He'd also be pretty simple, being somewhat of an all-around DPS, kind of like the Punisher, but maybe a little bit more short range. As much as I love what they did with Wolverine in this game, I am sad his healing factor doesn't play a bigger role, so this would be a great chance to rectify that. With Deadpool's passive either being healing over time or have it be a cooldown that self-heals. I don't think he should be super mobile due to the healing factor, maybe just a simple double jump or maybe a wall run here and there, but there is a lot of fun to be had with his abilities, especially the fourth wall breaks. For his ultimate, I'm leaning towards bringing in the other Deadpools and having them stick around like more powerful version of Namor's weird octopus turret things. Or you could pull a Marvel vs Capcom reference and have him run around with his health bar like a sword, doing more damage the more full it is, which allows for some combos with his healing abilities. Personally, I think Deadpool is the most likely on the list to be added soon, which I wouldn't be mad at. I'm excited to see how they treat him. Let me show some love to the strategists with Silver Surfer. There's quite a few flying characters already, and they're all in Duelist, so adding a flying support who can heal from above makes sense to me. At the lower ranks, I must admit, this would be fucking annoying because nobody seems to even look at Iron Man or Human Torch, so if they had a pocket on top of that, it would be hell. Regardless, I think he's a cool addition. I don't have much to add in terms of his moveset, I just think he changed the meta in a cool way. I like the idea of him being able to change materials, so I don't know, maybe he can shut down shield characters or apply a debuff to enemies by making them take more damage by making their armor softer. Look, cosmic powers aren't super clear, okay? Alright, that's about as much anybody cares about fucking healers anyway, so let's get back to the good shit with Carnage. Carnage supremacy, baby! I fucking love Carnage and I want him to be a lunatic. I want him to play like a crossbreed of Venom, Spider-Man and Wolverine. Let me slash everyone to bits, let me pounce on people, let me self-sustain the more damage I do, let me hear that sickening laugh as he does it. I don't think he has to be complex and I don't have any cool gimmick recommendations here, but he should be a terror to squishies and a close-range berserker character. Maybe as a passive he can have a second wind, kinda like Wolverine, but instead of bonus health, he shrinks into a symbiote blob and slinks away to revive himself. When he revives himself, maybe a small damage boost for a short amount of time. As cooldown 1, just a generic pounce ability that does a fair amount of damage. I think he's probably the most suitable character to have bleed damage as well. As cooldown 2, give him the option of a medium range spike barrage or a heavy and slow axe attack that can hit multiple characters and do heavy damage. If it kills, it resets. For his ultimate, the idea of turning him into what is basically just a walking area of effect, a tornado of blades and slashes that moves insanely quick, he should just be scary above all else. Let's switch back over to tanks with a recommendation my friend gave, which I think sounds like an amazing idea. Ant-Man as Vanguard. Don't get me wrong, this is a long shot, and it would be incredibly hard to do, but it would be incredibly fun. In Giant mode, he can grab players or stomp around. In Mini mode, he's got very low health, but is very mobile and has a tiny hitbox. He could also shrink other players temporarily, give them the same effect, being kind of an anti-tank character. He's got his army of ants to summon, which I'm imagining could slow enemies and damage them if they walk over them, or maybe a weaker version of Squirrel Girl's Stampede. By far the most fun part of the character though is constantly being able to switch between being big and small. Him changing size should have a hitbox, so comboing that with his different attacks, both large and small, just feels like it has so much tech potential. It would also help a lot against those pesky flying characters. He's one of the only members of the cast that can reach him. I feel like we've had a lot of red today. Daredevil, Carnage, Ant-Man, even kinda Ghost Rider. And we have a diversity quota to hit, so let me close it out with my second favorite X-Man, NightCrawler. I cannot lie to you, I have absolutely no interest in balancing NightCrawler. I want him to be teleporting every half a second. I want him to wall crawl. I want to hear nothing but boomph, 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 boomph like a fucking EDM rave. I want to see dark blue clouds everywhere. I want to see him be an even better assassin than Psylocke. I want to see him stab, stab, and skedaddle. He's obviously going to be another duelist. However, I am happy to trade in damage for his superior movement. So, he's going to be an exceptionally hard to pin down if I get my way. For his main ability, obviously his teleport with a very low cooldown. His secondary should just be a flurry of stabs, but for his last regular ability, I think you're going to hate me for this one. Don't get me wrong, it should have a massive cooldown, but I think grabbing someone and teleporting them off the map, Jeff style, would be so much fun. This can be done with allies too, to get them back into the fight sooner or help them into a better position, but only one person at a time. Finally, his ultimate. I am a little bit lost here. My initial idea is that he can do what Mordecai does in League, take you into his little pocket dimension for a 1v1, but considering he's primarily an assassin character, that might not work as well. Maybe if he gets some buffs while he's in there, like bonus health or more damage, but I'm open to suggestions. To wrap it up, there is a monumental amount of Marvel characters that rivals have to choose from, and I think they've done an amazing job at making the existing characters feel good and match their comic counterparts in a relatively balanced way. So I for one am excited to see who they add next, how they do it, and how it changes the meta. Let me know if you have any other suggestions, if you want to murder me for suggesting another character who can dump you off the map, or if you like these ideas and who you think will get added next. Subscribe if you like Marvel Rivals content because I'm enjoying it, so I'm looking for signs to do more. Thank you for watching.